Of Minnesota's capital city, why St. Paul's mayor is under investigation.
Plus, a heated meeting over homeless encampments in St. Paul. The concerns people are sharing just 1 week before the city says they'll start clearing them out.
We're going to tell you about the surprise attack from Iran thwarted by the U.S. military in the Middle East.
And as wildfires burn in northeastern Minnesota, there are questions about a wildfire prevention project that was never completed. A former U.S. Forest Service ranger says the work was ready to begin, but then it was delayed by a DOE's review. We'll get to the bottom of that as well. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings. We're streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm AJ Hilton.
And I'm Heather Brown. Thanks for being on the stream with us this morning. We begin with the investigation of St. Paul's Mayor Cully Herr now underway.
This is after allegations of sexual harassment towards St. Paul Police Chief Axel Henry and other city employees. That's according to the Star Tribune. The Strib says a letter was sent by Chief Henry's attorney, Chris Maddle, to St. Paul City Attorney Irene Cow. Maddle stated Henry had filed a formal complaint, and that letter was dated back in April.
Now, that letter was obtained by the Star Tribune. It reads, in part, Chief Henry has reached the decision to step forward as a formal complainant against the mayor after becoming aware that the mayor's conduct has extended beyond isolated incidents and has included sexual harassment of subordinate city employees, including members of the St. Paul Police Department. Now, WCCO has reached out to Henry's lawyer, but we have not yet heard back.
Mayor Herr's spokesperson released a statement saying the mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact her action may have had. Of course, WCCO is continuing to learn more about these accusations. We will update you throughout the day with what we find out.
We are only 1 week away from the planned closure of St. Paul's largest homeless encampment.
As you imagine, though, there's still causing conflict for those in the area on how to best prioritize safety and shelter for those involved. Let's check in at the live desk. Our Barrett Leone joins us now, hearing concerns from both sides, Barrett, along with some new data on how often they're being called out to this encampment.
Yeah, the countdown is on until August 5th. That's when the city says they'll start these closures. And there are a number of concerns with the plan. Some residents even calling for a pause here. In all, the city says about 220 people live in the 3 major camps, majority in Pigs Eye Park, which is home to roughly 140 people. City leaders estimate another 80 people live at the 2 next biggest encampments. The problem, according to the city, is that these 3 encampments are not safe and responsible for more than 850 911 calls over the past year. Concerned residents, elected officials, and people living in those camps met for a forum last night. Many are wondering why the city would move forward without enough shelter beds and criticizing what they call a lack of outreach. At times, things turned contentious. One Ramsey County commissioner expressed some doubt in the plan himself.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's going to be successful. We're going to do our best. We will try across the board. The bottom line is, regardless of how much money there is out there aren't enough beds today to purchase and housing. And so we're looking at other solutions of how we can move forward.
Ramsey County commissioners did vote to partner with St. Paul yesterday and accept more than $1 million in city funding to expand shelter beds. We'll share those details in the next half hour.
All right, Bear, we appreciate that update. Just a reminder, the Live Desk has headlines and live updates each weekday morning here on our 24/7 free streaming service, CBS News Minnesota.
7:04 now. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner, because it is going to be another warm one today. Just not as warm as we saw earlier this week.
I know. Gosh, Monday was brutal. So it's not going to be that bad. But still, 93 degrees is about 10 degrees above average. So we've kind of been in this above average stretch for a while. We're at 72 already. By 11, you're at 85, or dew point 66 degrees. So it's going to be warm. We do have heat advisories up to the north. So up in the Arrowhead and northeastern Minnesota, also northwestern Wisconsin, we are seeing a heat advisory. This goes until 7 p.m. You could see things as hot as 92 degrees, feeling like as hot as 92 degrees. And then off to the south or northwest, extreme west, so right on that border with North Dakota, we have another heat advisory that goes until 9 p.m. tonight, and that we could see things feeling like 100. Satellite and radar clear for the next couple of days, and then that changes. But look at our dew points. They're going to stay in the, quote, very humid range. So anytime your dew points are in this high 60s, you are going to be feeling it, and that's where we're going to be for the next couple of days. High temperatures. So in general today, further east you are, the cooler you are going to be. So you can take the difference between Virginia, because Duluth, Silver Bay, Grand Marais, those are kind of all outliers. But Virginia, Minnesota right now, 89 degrees. Compare that to Grand Forks, where there's a 10-degree difference, 99 degrees. So now we go south, kind of same thing. Barron, Wisconsin coming in at 88 degrees. Alexandria coming in at 92, and then down to the south, if you live in places like Spring Valley, Wabasha, 86 in Spring Valley, 90 in Wabasha, Pipestone coming in at 90 degrees. Low temperatures in the overnight hours, we're at 74 degrees. Then we will warm up tomorrow to 91. Winds are going to be the same, light, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then, dun, 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 we've got rain. And I think we could see about an inch in some of these places, especially if you live down to the south. Look at that amount of moisture here. This is at 11:45. This is going to be pulling on through. Twin Cities will get that moisture in the overnight hours and then on Friday morning. We do have a chance for severe weather for those thunderstorms that are coming on Thursday night for the western side of the state. We have a 1 out of 5 chance for severe weather for that. So that's what we're tracking in the next weather department. We're really going to be keeping an eye on, obviously, that rain on Friday. Right now, I don't have a whole ton of confidence of where exactly the heaviest rain is going to be. I think my best guess is going to be south and west right now, but again, that can change. Especially as we get closer and closer to it, we'll get a little bit more confident in where we think that is going to be setting up. And then the weekend goes, and guess what? We get hotter again, but then as we get to the work week next week, things are going to cool off into the 80s.
All right, Katie, appreciate that update. Let's focus on your next drive. This is one of two things I want to show you. This is a minor crash. This is going to be on 94. This is eastbound traffic coming into town in Brooklyn Park. It may be tough to make out, but maybe you can see those flashing lights. You can see them off to the side of the road, but this is also rush hour traffic as things start to pick up. So this is a minor crash. I also want to show you the traffic map this morning. That's that exclamation point you see on your screen. The other area I want to focus on, I want to take you to the South Metro. Specifically, I want to take you down to Burnsville, the 35E, 35W split, because a new traffic pattern has been instituted for the northbound lanes. And I do want to take you down there right now. One lane of traffic, that lane of traffic you see, that's the traffic that's moving on 35W. And I also want to let you know they're going to be shutting down those northbound lanes tonight. This is just for tonight, this closure. So this is going to be from the split all the way up to 494. This road closure starts tonight. It should wrap up by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Developing overnight, we are looking to learn what happened in a crash. This happened just north of the metro. The scene at 35E and County Road H2. It's over in the White Bear Lake area. Crews did work to clear the scene. There was a truck overturned in the middle of the road. Happened about 2:30 in the morning and took crews about an hour to get it all cleaned up. We have reached out to the State Patrol for details.
We're also following another escalation in the U.S. war with Iran. The Defense Department says American and Saudi forces launched joint strikes in Iran's proxies in Iraq. CBS News' Jared Hill tells us this comes as the U.S. also says it thwarted an Iranian missile attack targeting American troops.
Days of calm in the Middle East shattered overnight. The Pentagon says U.S. and Saudi forces conducted joint strikes against Iran-backed terrorist sites in Iraq. U.S. Central Command says it intercepted an attempted surprise Iranian missile attack aimed at American troops in the region. President Trump repeated this warning on Fox News Tuesday morning.
If they don't make a deal, then I go back and I finish the job.
Control over the Strait of Hormuz is still a key issue. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps says it struck 3 oil tankers in the waterway. President Trump has threatened to use frozen Iranian assets to recoup the costs.
We're going to use Iran's money to pay for the damage they did.
Iran's military says it won't allow any ships to pass through the area that are associated with countries or companies that use those frozen funds. The conflict was at the forefront of President Trump's meeting with the leaders of Ukraine and Israel Tuesday, which the White House says were positive and productive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described his roughly 90-minute sit-down with the president as one of the best conversations they've had, adding that there was a, quote, understanding of the mutual goal that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. The meeting came hours after President Trump expressed frustration with Netanyahu on Fox News, saying the Israeli Prime Minister was applying public pressure because he wants the U.S. to stay involved in the war. Jared Hill, CBS News.
First of its kind Minnesota law is facing a new challenge. So Elon Musk is trying to stop the ban on AI-powered notification apps.
Musk founded artificial intelligence company xAI. That company filed a federal lawsuit over the ban. XAI says it strictly prohibits users from making sexualized content without consent, but claims Minnesota's law is too broad and violates free speech. Nearly every single Minnesota lawmaker voted in favor of the bill during the last legislative session. One of the authors of the bill, DFL Representative Jess Hansen, called Musk's lawsuit absolutely disgusting and said she looks forward to hearing Musk trying to explain to the public exactly the redeeming qualities he thinks nudification has. And Governor Walz chimed in on social media saying, "See you in court, creep." Minnesota's Attorney General has 3 weeks to respond to the suit. There's a press conference at the state capitol today to highlight Minnesota's nudification ban. The new law is supposed to take effect this Saturday, August 1st, but of course, that could change based on this lawsuit. We'll follow the case and how the state responds.
Now, there is a government agency that Elon Musk used to help lead that may have impacted Minnesota's Northland wildfires. According to the Washington Post, a $10 million Biden-era grant was supposed to help the Superior National Forest remove dead trees and undergrowth. This is to prevent future wildfires. But then last year, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, they delayed the grant, according to the Post, to review whether they were connected to diversity or climate initiatives.
When DOGE came on board, they literally said, pause, stop work.
So that's Aaron Kania. He's a former forest ranger up in the Superior National Forest, and he's now running as a Democrat for a seat in the Minnesota House. Kania says that his team was focused on fire prevention along the Echo Trail, but they never got to move forward.
Once we made our case and explained it, and we were able to rework the plan to be acceptable to DOGE, by then the reorganization of the Forest Service occurred. So a lot of the people that would do that paperwork were no longer working for the agency.
Forest Service says that nearly 70,000 acres are still burning in the Superior National Forest and up in the Boundary Waters.
Still to come in a heat wave like this, air conditioning is more than a comfort, it is a necessity.
But some Minneapolis renters say living conditions at a public housing complex are at crisis levels.
And the huge area of damage in Wisconsin as many remain without power from a tornado. Well, here's something to think about. Could you imagine surviving our latest heat wave without air conditioning? That's just one of many health worries for people living at this public housing complex. It's in Minneapolis. And as Frankie McLister reports, a civil rights group is calling the living condition a crisis.
From infrastructure cracks to black mold to busted out windows.
Buildings got birds living all in them, squirrels living all in them. Mice are having a teeth party out in the yard. It's bad.
The NAACP says nearly 700 people live at Heritage Park, a subsidized housing complex that sits on a property owned by the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority.
They all need to be relocated.
In June, the NAACP asked for an independent investigation into why they say it was neglected and asked for Abdi Warsami, the MPHA's executive director, to be fired. On Tuesday, they reiterated that same request.
MPHA was the referee between the private owner, the citizens. He had from 2020 to 2026 to do something about this, and he ignored it as well.
In a statement, an MPHA spokesperson says that they have helped lead efforts to support Heritage Park as them and others began learning more about the shortfalls and maintenance issues. But they clarify that they don't own, operate, or control any of the units. And McCormick Barron Salazar, a developer based in St. Louis, Missouri, does.
I got my rights too. I pay rent there. I got a right to live in a decent place.
In South Minneapolis on Tuesday, MPHA announced the completion of a triplex and duplex alongside Mayor Jacob Fry. WCCO asked Warsami how they plan to maintain that newly renovated building.
We have a long history of maintaining our units. MPHA has more than 6,000 units across the city.
We're not looking to fight with the city. First and foremost, we're looking for the relocation of these families.
With photojournalist Chris Cruz, Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
And in a new statement last night, the city said it is willing to work with residents who feel unsafe and want to relocate. Just late last year, a judge took away operational control from that developer and appointed a different company to help coordinate those repairs. In a statement, we understand the developer said it didn't get enough money from the government, saying there was a, quote, significant and well-documented underfunding of public funds required for the sustainable management. Well, we're also following our neighbors in Wisconsin who are continuing to recover after Monday's EF3 tornado. And then just yesterday, the National Weather Service found a 12-mile long and nearly 1 mile wide swath of damage. I mean, you remember seeing some of this footage. We showed it to you before. Stripped trees, collapsed power lines, homes torn apart. Thousands are still without power across the region. That same storm system dropped hail as large as 2 inches. The National Weather Service is investigating 3 other reported tornadoes. That's across Wisconsin and Illinois. Let's focus on your next drive. And right now, looks like that crash up in Brooklyn Park, that has since cleared, but traffic is starting to pick up. Wednesday is typically one of the busier traffic days. I want to take you over to Fridley this morning, and this is typically what we see. 694, 695. No crash here. Traffic moving smoothly. But again, on Wednesday, typically in the summertime, a little bit of a busier day, so make sure that you are prepared. So Gen Z grew up glued to smartphones, yet a growing number of young people are choosing to disconnect. As Maya Blackstone reports, they're ditching social media, and in some cases, they're ditching their smartphones altogether.
The second that my iPhone was gone, it was just like heaven on earth.
Kendall Shroy traded her smartphone for a flip phone through Dumbco, a startup that sells flip phones with practical apps like Uber and Spotify, but no social media.
Young people, because we grew up on these platforms, it's very hard for us to imagine a life where we're not addicted to it, because that has been the norm our entire existence.
And the research backs that up. Pediatrician Jason Nagata studies social media's impact.
Features of the design can lead to symptoms similar to substance-related addictions, which can include impaired control, withdrawal, tolerance, and relapse.
Shroy says she spent years trying to quit her smartphone.
I needed that extreme measure, like to physically not be able to access social media in order to realize that I actually preferred life without it.
Shroy showed me how the dumb phone works, and I gave it a spin for a weekend. I needed to ask a stranger for directions twice, and by Sunday, I felt bored.
Shroy says life is harder without a smartphone, and she uses a notebook to write directions and jot down her thoughts.
If you feel like you want to change your relationship with technology, like you can. It really opens up your mind.
Dr. Nagata says research also points to tangible benefits.
In the long term, many do notice improvement in sleep, better concentration, less overall stress.
For those not ready to quit cold turkey, Dr. Nagata recommends starting small. Put your smartphone in another room at night and plan phone-free activities. Maya Blackstone, CBS News, New York.
Apple is launching a new program. It's going to allow customers to lease some of its products instead of buying them. Maybe it could be cheaper. This plan will replace Apple's current iPhone upgrade program. That allows customers to swap out iPhones for newer versions. That's after you make 12 monthly payments. So the new leasing applies to the iPhone 17, the Air models, the Apple Watch Series 11 and Ultra 3. So the cost started at $18 a month, and the term length depends on which product you choose to lease. You can learn more online. You can also visit your nearest Apple store. Hey, food delivery apps, they are quite popular, especially with American teens. And we point to a new survey. Spoke to more than 1,000 teens, 13 to 17 years old. Nearly half of them say they use food delivery apps. How they get this from the building? A quarter use them while they're in school. Majority of teens ordered fast food, think pizzas, burgers. That's what they offer in the cafeteria. So should students be allowed to use delivery apps during school hours? Nearly half of them say yes, but also with some concern over distractions and campus safety. Well, of course they're going to say yes. They're teens. They want to use this stuff. Duh, makes sense. Right now, we understand investigators are still working to learn how a coordinated cyber attack against the Minnesota water systems, how this all happened, how one of the towns impacted handled the outage and their plans for the future. And just a devastating prognosis for a mass shooting survivor. Hear from one of the family victims of last week's nightclub shooting in Uptown.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm AJ Hilton. Katie Steiner will have your next weather forecast in a second. I want to start with an investigation of St. Paul Mayor Cully Hurd that is underway. It comes after allegations of sexual harassment towards St. Paul's police chief, that is Axel Henry, and other city employees. This is all coming from the Star Tribune. The Strib says the letter was sent by Chief Henry's attorney, Chris Maddle, to St. Paul City Attorney Irene Cow. Maddle stated that Henry had filed a formal complaint, and that letter was dated back in April. Mayor Hurd's spokesperson released a statement saying the mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact her action may have had. Let's focus on your next drive. Start off with the traffic map. Just want to reassure you, for the most part, things are looking great. You shouldn't have any problems this morning. Take you over to Woodbury this morning. Ideal conditions on Ideal Avenue at 94. So again, no major issues that we are following on this Wednesday. Katie, how's the weather shaping up?
Can you call it ideal? I don't know if you can call this weather ideal. Some people, I mean, who knows? 75 degrees right now. We're at 84 by 11. It's going to be another hot one. It's 93 degrees. Our winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, and those feels like temperature, your heat index is going to be close to 95 degrees because our dew points are also very high. We do have a little bit of relief for you Thursday. Tomorrow is going to be more of the same, but Thursday night to Friday, we've got rain on the way, high temperature only in the 80s.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, new accusations of harassment against St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr. The letter detailing a filed formal complaint.
City leaders in St. Paul say some homeless encampments will soon be closed down. We'll have the heated debate over these closures at a recent Q&A forum.
Plus, the remaining questions from a family whose son got hurt in a mass shooting at a Minneapolis nightclub.
And we're going to tell you about the fierce election race in the evenly divided 2nd Congressional District.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm AJ Hilton.
And I'm Heather Brown. New this morning, we are working to get details on an investigation into St. Paul's Mayor Cully Herr.
Now, this is for allegations of sexual harassment towards St. Paul Police Chief Axel Henry, as well as other city employees. This is all according to a letter from the Star Tribune saying that it was sent by Chief Henry's attorney to the St. Paul City Attorney Irene Cow. That letter obtained by the Strib says in part, quote, Chief Henry has reached the decision to step forward as a formal complainant against the mayor after becoming aware that the mayor's conduct has extended beyond isolated incidents and has included sexual harassment of subordinate city employees, including members of the St. Paul Police Department, end quote. WCCO has reached out to Henry's lawyer regarding the letter, but have not yet heard back. Mayor Herr's spokesperson released a statement saying the mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact, her action may have had. WCCO is continuing to investigate those accusations. We'll update you throughout the day as we work to learn more.
New this morning, 5 men have been arrested and charged. This is following a month-long investigation into the alleged sexual exploitation of a 14-year-old runaway. So this teenage girl, she went missing back in June. 2 days later, she was found in Minneapolis. All 5 suspects are not connected to each other and allegedly communicated with and engaged in criminal sexual contact with the teenager after meeting through online platforms. Now, the men range in age from 20 to 37 years old. And in light of this, we do have some tips for parents to try to keep your kids safe. They say know which apps your kids are using. Talk openly with your children about the dangers of speaking with strangers online. Monitor privacy settings on social media. Check who your kids follow and be on the lookout for secretive behavior.
Well, soon the city of St. Paul will start clearing 3 major homeless encampments in the city. That includes nearly 150 people camped out at St. Paul's Pig Eye Park.
So, but a forum on the issue last night, it turned contentious. Most of the night, an open mic night there. There was an opportunity to ask questions, and that led to some heated exchanges. A big question that people had moving forward, why the city would move forward without enough shelter beds. Now, St. Paul will start clearing these homeless encampments in 1 week. City says that more than 200 people live between 3 major camps. And yesterday, Ramsey County commissioners voted to partner with St. Paul and accept more than $1 million in city funding to expand shelter beds. Even so, one commissioner expressed some hesitation over the plan. It left some calling for a pause and criticizing what they call a lack of outreach on the city's part.
We need to pause at least the sweeps. What the hell?
To be clear, people will suffer and die if you go through with this eviction.
So how can we trust you all to do the right thing when human lives are at stake?
So St. Paul's Mayor Cully Herr says that the bottom line is that the camps are not safe. She added that the 3 encampments are responsible for close to 1,000 911 calls over the past year for things like assaults, weapons, death investigations, and drugs. Now, city leaders say that outreach teams are already working in these camps, connecting with people.
Let's give you a live look outside this morning, downtown Minneapolis. That's a nice view, lots of clouds. Let's also check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner. All things considered, not bad for a Wednesday.
Not bad at all. It's going to be warm today. We're going to start with checking out with our weather watchers. This is Alex from Forston. He says he can't wait for that rain that's coming. We need it. We're going to see rain Thursday night into Friday. And then here's Doug from Independence. He says, happy Wednesday. The weeks are flying by and the summer is the winner. And then this is my favorite comment, even though I very heartily disagree with her. Oh, this is the same one. Well, the one I wanted to share was that one of our weather watchers is excited for fall. I'm like, what? It is July. I'm holding on to like every bit of summer that I possibly can. 75 degrees is where we are right now. Our dew point, 67 degrees. We're going to see it in that 65 to 70 range. I'll show you that graphic of the forecasted dew points, and it's going to be muggy for a while. So here's a look at our heat indexes. They're feeling as high as 92 degrees if you live in northeastern Minnesota. This is a heat advisory that's going to be in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. If you live in northwestern Minnesota, in these counties shaded in the orange, we have a heat advisory that's going to be going until 9 p.m. tonight because it's going to feel like potentially up to 100. But here's a look at that dew point tracker. You can see Friday, things are still very muggy. As we get to Saturday, our dew points are going to come down a bit. But for the foreseeable future, the next couple of days, those dew points are going to be high. So if you are heading outside, if you're going to be on the golf course, especially if you're going to be outside for a while, make sure you grab the water. Definitely need to stay hydrated. Loose clothing, find the shade, all those kind of things. And if you are going to be outside, make sure you grab the sunscreen today because we are going to see a decent amount of sunshine. We will also see some smoke in the upper atmosphere, so right on the horizons there you're going to probably see a little bit of haze, but I don't think it's going to be affecting any breathability. Right now our air quality is at moderate. So we're at 93 degrees here in the Twin Cities for a high temperature, 94 in Brainerd. Overnight lows 74 degrees here in the Twin Cities, 70 in St. Cloud. And then tomorrow we're going to be at 91 here in the Twin Cities. So 89 in Hinckley, 85 degrees up in Grand Rapids. And our winds are going to be pretty low both days, 5 to 10 miles per hour. So let's talk about the rain that's going to be coming through. You can see here we've got that chances for thunderstorm activity. Could see some strong hail, damaging winds. With this, probably won't be seeing a chance for tornadoes, but we have a marginal risk of severe weather. These are going to pull through, and then the bulk of the precipitation is actually going to be down to the south. That is going to move on through the Twin Cities, most likely in the overnight hours into Friday morning. So here's your look at Friday at 7:30. This model not necessarily picking up rain yet. So not as confident with this system, but it looks like Friday is going to be that chance for rain in the Twin Cities. We have a severe weather outlook for tomorrow night. Again, these are for the counties shaded in the tan. 1 out of 5 chance for severe weather, like we talked about. Then on Friday, that day that we're going to see rain, 81 degrees, 76. Our temperatures are going to be in the 70s down to the south where we're going to see most of the rain, 80s up to the north where we won't see a whole ton of rain. If you live in northern Minnesota, your chance for rain is probably going to be Thursday night, not as much on Friday. Southern Minnesota, your chances are going to be on Friday. Then things clear out Saturday, Sunday. We're back into the high 80s. And yes, we hit 90 degrees on Monday. And then once we get to the work week next week, like once we get to Tuesday on, it looks like our temperatures are going to be in the 80s. But for the foreseeable future, high dew points, high humidity, high temperatures, and then we've got our little break on Friday.
Alrighty. Katie, thank you. Let's take a look now at your next drive. It's typical Wednesday morning here. Don't see any major crashes from MnDOT. Nothing major that is going to slow you down. Going to take you to one of those busier spots, though. So this is up in Fridley. This is 694 East River Road down there. Also, it is pretty busy down here in the Burnsville area. That's because they got a new traffic pattern. Let's see if I can.
Oh, you can see that line of traffic right there.
Yeah, they got a new traffic pattern over in that construction zone. So there's just one lane going on 35W North. So it's causing some extra slowdowns in that area. So just be aware if you're trying to make your way through there.
Yeah, there's that one lane of traffic there. Caught on camera, a teenage driver's failed attempt to ditch police. Watch this white car here. Watch here. This is on 494 at Penn Avenue. Going the wrong way there, guy. Penn Avenue in Bloomington Monday. Police trying to get this vehicle to stop, but the teen drove around those cars and see it keeps going around here in the wrong direction on the interstate. Cameras would track the car for a while longer, but it eventually crashed on 494 at Portland Avenue. That's where police arrested the 17-year-old. No word yet on why that teen was driving like that.
A Minnesota mother says her son will likely never walk again. This is after last week's mass shooting in Minneapolis. Happened outside of Rain nightclub in the Uptown neighborhood. Police said that a fire led to a gunfight as a crowd waited to get inside the club. Now, bullets hit 9 people, one of them 20-year-old Devin White. Wyatt's mother says that he was set to graduate from a construction program this fall, and now he's in the hospital. He's being treated for a spinal cord injury, several broken ribs, a collapsed lung. Family says that they haven't learned a lot from police.
I've heard something one time about they had a lead, but that was all I heard from them. I just wish people would just put the guns down. It's not worth it.
The family is hoping to raise $60,000 to cover hospital bills. Police say that they've not arrested anyone for the shooting, but are still investigating.
More than 30 communities are recovering after hackers targeted their water systems, including the small town of Bram. That's about 12 miles west of Rush City. Population is under 1,800 people. They say hackers shut down the operating controls for the city's water plant, but the city relied on water stored in the water tower as crews worked to get back by on the grid. Mayor Nate George says upgrades have already been underway to upgrade IT infrastructure.
One of the things that we're doing right now is we're switching over to direct hardline data transmissions instead of Wi-Fi. So when the facilities are talking to each other, they're sending data through fiber optic cables rather than over Wi-Fi.
City leaders stress residents never lost access to safe drinking water, and there was no physical damage to the facilities. Cities are working with state and federal partners to figure out who was behind those attacks.
So in just under 2 weeks, Minnesota primary voters, they will decide the candidates who will be running in the November election. Representative Angie Craig is running for the U.S. Senate, so there is now a fierce contest to replace her in Minnesota's 2nd congressional district. This is a district, it's a big one, stretches from Woodbury suburbs in Washington County, goes down to LeSueur County farmlands, and then comes up back north to Lakeville in Dakota County. Pretty evenly divided between Republicans and Democrats, so it really is the state's only real swing district. State Senator Eric Pratt is running unopposed on the Republican side, but on the Democratic side, there's a battle between 3 well-known political figures in the area. So you got State Representative Kayla Berg, State Senator Matt Klein, and former State Senator and Lakeville Mayor Matt Little. At Lakeville City Hall yesterday, we found a steady stream of voters coming in early to vote. Turnout is expected to be high for this race, especially in that district. Voters say they are casting ballots now to avoid what is expected to be a crush at the polls on August 11th.
Just want to make sure that I get it done, that nothing gets in my way, and I have my voice heard as soon as I can. It's also the big congressional race that I want to make sure that I get to have my say.
So before Angie Craig won that seat in 2018, Republicans held it for 16 years. Analysts say this is a seat that Minnesota Republicans could pick up. Now, once again, reminder, primary August 11th. Be sure to stay with us here at WCCO On Air, online, streaming on CBS News Minnesota for all the election results and any developments up until then.
Still to come, students from low-income families tackling a big goal together.
The life lessons that they're learning while training for their very first marathon.
And a group of cancer survivors need your help on a journey to an international competition. The way you can support the Dragon Divas as they prepare for an exciting opportunity in France.
Several high students are preparing for their first marathon. As Karina Nova reports, the training is helping inspire them to look beyond the finish line.
Juana Galvan is about to take these kids on an adventure they never dreamed of a few months ago.
I have 9 students running the San Francisco Marathon, and they're all new runners as of a couple months ago.
So new, the word marathon wasn't even in their vocabulary.
I did not know what a marathon was, and I did not know how far 26 mile was too.
For Josh Rojas, running wasn't an exercise. He just did it when he didn't have a ride.
Like if I needed to get somewhere and I didn't have a ride, I just started running. I thought it was a pretty useful skill to have.
The teens are students at Cristo Rey High School in San Jose, where Galvan coaches track. The small school caters to low-income families. The campus does not have an athletic field, so most days the students train on the streets of East San Jose.
They're waiting at stoplights, dealing with highway entrances.
Galvan saw running as a way to show them something different in life, like she found after running her first marathon when she was in the 7th grade.
Running changed my life. Because of running and everything that it taught me, I was able to go to UC Berkeley, get my master's.
Galvan was part of Students Run LA, a running program in Los Angeles for underprivileged kids. She founded South Bay Youth Runners to do the same in San Jose.
Some of these families, they cannot afford running shoes or marathon fees. The San Francisco Marathon itself is like $450.
Local running clubs have stepped in to help. They recently took the kids on a shopping trip to buy running shoes and training gear. Luis Vasquez has seen the transformation physically. He lost 20 pounds.
I release a lot of stress and anxiety when I run, so I don't have to feel a lot when I'm running. So I just look around everywhere, nature.
As a parent, you're so proud, having your children focus on something that they really are motivated for.
Later on in life, when we feel like we can't do stuff, Coach, she's like, just think back on the marathon. You thought you couldn't do a marathon, but you got it over with.
A lesson they'll carry for the marathon of life. Karina Nova, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
And in your bright spot this morning, a group of Minnesota breast cancer survivors, they plan to take their paddling skills to France. The Dragon Divas of Minnesota, they're a dragon boat team of survivors, and they are planning to compete in an International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission Dragon Boat Festival. This is a competition with thousands of survivors. They represent 37 countries. If you would like to help support their journey to France, they are hosting a fundraising event. It's tonight. It's at a bar of their own in Minneapolis. Goes from 5 until 8. Let's take a look outside this morning, a live look. You can see the downtown area. Sun is shining. Let's check in with Katie.
Good morning. We are looking at 93 degrees for your high temperature. Winds today are going to be nice and light, but you'll need the wind today because it's going to be warm. It's going to feel like 95 degrees, but I do have some sort of relief coming your way, and that is in the form of rain. So Thursday night into Friday morning, that is going to be our next best chance for rain. We could see more than an inch in some areas. If you live in southwestern Minnesota, that's your best chance for rain.
Katie, thank you. Let's take a look now at your next drive. Pretty typical Wednesday morning. It is starting to pick up in those busier spots. No major crashes to report. Let's take you out to one of those. This is over in the Bloomington area, 494 Bush Lake Road. Traffic still moving along smoothly. Do want to take a final look at what is happening here today in and around our city and all around the world. Former South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham will be laid to rest today. Now, he died suddenly earlier this month at the age of 71. This is after spending more than 30 years on Capitol Hill. Yesterday, funeral services were held in Washington. Today's service will be held in South Carolina. Also happening today, a press conference at the Minnesota State Capitol. This is over Minnesota's nudification ban. It's a new law. It was set to take effect on August 1st, but Elon Musk is now trying to stop it, saying that Minnesota's law is just too broad and violates free speech. This law bans AI-powered apps, which create fake sexualized images. Also happening today in Lakeville, your chance to help sustain our region's blood supply. The city of Lakeville hosting their 30th annual blood drive. Goes from 9 until 4. It's going to be at the McGuire Middle School gym. And the Washington County Fair, it starts up. It started up this morning at 7 a.m. This fair has been around for 155 years. Will last through Sunday. This is in Stillwater. And then coming up on mid-morning today at 9, we got time for a midsummer check-in. Is summer moving too quickly? We have ideas for making the most of this week ahead, these weeks, I should say, ahead of your loved ones. And then in today's relationship reboot, we got a really special thing talking about. We'll be more headlines coming up after a quick break.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good Wednesday morning, 7:56. Katie Steiner's here. She'll have your next weather forecast coming up in just a minute. But first, caught on camera, a teenage driver's failed attempt to ditch police. It's this white car right here. You can see it backing up. This is on 494 at Penn. This is on Monday. Police trying to get in there, trying to stop it. But then this car and the teenager in it driving around the squad cars keeps going in the wrong way on the interstate. Cameras track that car for a little while longer, but it does eventually crash at 494 in Portland. That's where police arrest the 17-year-old. No word yet on why he was driving like that. Let's take a look now at your next drive here. You can see it's busy on a Wednesday morning. This is pretty typical though. No major crashes to report, but I do want to take you down to the Burnsville area, the Lakeville area. That's because if you're coming into town, you're going to have a lot of extra traffic today. There's a new traffic pattern in that construction zone right there in Burnsville. So just one lane of traffic going north on 35W. So just be aware if you're making your way through.
Traffic might be typical, Heather, but the weather is not. It's still another very hot day. We're about 10 degrees above average. When is it going to break? Friday, and I'll have those details in a minute. But right now we're at 75 degrees. Temperatures really haven't gone anywhere all morning. Dew points have, though. They're going up. The next couple of days, tomorrow, very similar, 91, maybe a little bit more cloud cover. Thursday night into Friday, rain, and 81 degrees is a high on Friday.
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, allegations of sexual harassment by the leader of Minnesota's capital city. Why St. Paul's mayor is under investigation. Then, in just days, the city of St. Paul will begin to clear homeless encampments. And even county commissioners are sharing concerns, the heated debate surrounding this controversial plan. Plus, a group of women who have faced one of life's most difficult challenges now coming together for an international journey. How you can support their chance to compete in France. And later, we'll tell you about the surprise attack from Iran thwarted by U.S. military in the Middle East. Good morning and welcome to WCCO Mornings. We're live on our free streaming channel each weekday morning on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Barrett Leon. Thanks for joining us. Developing overnight, we're working to learn what happened in a crash north of the metro. Here is the large scene at 35E and County Road H2 over by White Bear Lake and Lino Lakes. You can see crews working to clear the scene and a truck overturned in the middle of the road. This is around 2:30 this morning. It took crews about an hour to get this all cleaned up, and we have reached out to State Patrol for details. New this morning, an investigation of St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr is underway. This is after allegations of sexual harassment toward St. Paul Police Chief Axel Henry and other city employees. That's according to the Star Tribune. The Strib says a letter was sent by Chief Henry's attorney, Chris Medell, to St. Paul City Attorney Irene Cow. Medell stated Henry had filed a former complaint. That letter dated back in April. That letter was obtained by the Star Tribune, and it reads in part, quote, Chief Henry has reached the decision to step forward as a formal complaint against the mayor after becoming aware that the mayor's conduct has extended beyond isolated incidents and has included sexual harassment of subordinate city employees, including members of the St. Paul Police Department. WCCO has reached out to Henry's lawyer but have not yet heard back. Mayor Herr's spokesperson released a statement to the Tribune saying, quote, the mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact her action may have had. WCCO is continuing to learn more about these accusations and will update you throughout the day with what we find out. The countdown is on until August 5th. That's when the city of St. Paul says they'll start closures for homeless encampments there. And there are a number of concerns with this plan, even some residents calling for a pause. In all, the city says about 220 people live in the 3 major camps, majority over in Pigs Eye Park, which is home to roughly 140 people. City leaders estimate another 80 people live at the next 2 biggest encampments. The problem, according to city, is that those 3 encampments are not safe, and they're responsible for more than 850 911 calls over the past year. Concerned residents, elected officials, and people living in those camps met for a forum last night. Many are wondering why the city would move forward without enough shelter beds, and some criticizing what they call a lack of outreach. At times, things turned contentious. One Ramsey County commissioner expressed some doubt in the plan.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's going to be successful. We're going to do our best. We will try across the board. The bottom line is, regardless of how much money there is out there, there aren't enough beds today to purchase in housing. And so we're looking at other solutions of how we can move forward.
Ramsey County commissioners did vote to partner with St. Paul yesterday and accept more than $1 million in city funding to expand shelter beds. We'll have more of those details in the next half hour. A first-of-its-kind Minnesota law is facing a new challenge. Elon Musk is trying to stop the ban on AI-powered notification apps. Elon Musk founded artificial intelligence company xAI. The company filed a federal lawsuit over the ban. xAI says it strictly prohibits users from making sexualized content without consent, but claims Minnesota's law is too broad and violates free speech. Nearly every single Minnesota lawmaker voted in favor of the bill during the last legislative session. One of the authors of the bill, DFL Representative Jess Hansen, called Musk's lawsuit absolutely disgusting and said she looks forward to hearing Elon Musk trying to explain to the public exactly the redeeming qualities he thinks notification has. Governor Tim Walz chimed in on social media saying, quote, "See you in court, creep." Minnesota's Attorney General has 3 weeks to respond to the suit. There's a press conference at the state capitol today to highlight Minnesota's notification ban. The new law is supposed to take effect this Saturday, August 1st, but that could change based on this lawsuit. We'll follow the case and see how the state responds. A government agency Elon Musk used to help lead may have impacted Minnesota's Northland wildfires. According to the Washington Post, a $10 million Biden-era grant was supposed to help the Superior National Forest remove dead trees and undergrowth to prevent future wildfires. But last year, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, delayed the grant to review whether they were connected to diversity or climate initiatives.
When DOGE came on board, they literally said, pause, stop work.
That is Aaron Kania, a former forest ranger in the Superior National Forest. He's now running as a Democrat for a seat in the Minnesota House, and he says his team was focused on fire prevention along the Echo Trail, but never got to move forward.
Once we made our case and explained it, and we were able to rework the plan, to be acceptable to Doge. By then, the reorganization of the Forest Service occurred, so a lot of the people that would do that paperwork were no longer working for the agency.
The Forest Service says nearly 70,000 acres are still burning in the Superior National Forest and Boundary Waters. Time is 8:07, and this is a look outside downtown Minneapolis. Our next weather tower shining white. No change in sight. Katie Steiner joins us now. And Katie, it's just this hot stretch continues.
And we've got a little bit of some haze there from the wildfire smoke, but the good news is it's just in the upper atmosphere. It's not in the surface level air. So it's just moderate right now. It's not really going to impact your breathing. So that's the good news. 75 degrees is where we are right now. Dew point is nice and warm at 67. High temperature for today, 93 degrees. It's going to feel like at its peak 94, 95. So another hot day out there. Dew points are going to be warm, so it's going to be sticky as well. So make sure you have lots of water, find some shade if you're going to be outside. Tomorrow, more of the same. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover out there tomorrow. 91 degrees is your high temperature. But then we have our next big weather change, and that is rain Thursday night. If you live up north, you're going to see most of your rain on Thursday night. Or if you live to the south, you'll see both rain Thursday night and Friday. If you live in the Twin Cities, probably just going to be seeing rain on Friday, maybe a little bit in the overnight hours, but right now our models are showing us Friday is probably the best chance for some rain. And it might be one of those like soaking, like for sure probably an all morning event. So that's always very exciting. I love these for sowing days. 81 degrees is where we are, and we have not seen any rain out there. So that is the good news. Here's a look at that high temperature trend. We're at 81 degrees, 86 on Saturday, 89 on Sunday, back into the 90s. And then as we look at next week, we're going to be more in the 80s.
Okay, thanks, Katie. Let's take a look at your next drive. A couple crashes just popping up here around the metro, and we are working to see the impact on that. I haven't been able to find that St. Paul or Maplewood crash just on our MnDOT cameras just yet, but I'll take you out to a typically congested spot in the metro here. Things looking pretty good in Edina. On 494, you can see traffic moving along quite nicely. We will bring you an update as soon as we can here on CBS News Minnesota. Now to some international headlines. Another escalation in the U.S. war with Iran. The Defense Department says American and Saudi forces launched joint strikes on Iran's proxies in Iraq. CBS News' Jared Hill tells us this comes as the U.S. also says it thwarted an Iranian missile attack targeting American troops.
Days of calm in the Middle East shattered overnight. The Pentagon says U.S. and Saudi forces conducted joint strikes against Iran-backed terrorist sites in Iraq. U.S. Central Command says it intercepted an attempted surprise Iranian missile attack aimed at American troops in the region. President Trump repeated this warning on Fox News Tuesday morning.
If they don't make a deal, then I go back and I finish the job.
Control over the Strait of Hormuz is still a key issue. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps says it struck 3 oil tankers in the waterway. President Trump has threatened to use frozen Iranian assets to recoup the costs.
We're going to use Iran's money to pay for the damage they did.
Iran's military says it won't allow any ships to pass through the area that are associated with countries or companies that use those frozen funds. The conflict was at the forefront of President Trump's meeting with the leaders of Ukraine and Israel Tuesday, which the White House says were positive and productive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described his roughly 90-minute sit-down with the president as one of the best conversations they've had, adding that there was a, quote, understanding of the mutual goal that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. The meeting came hours after President Trump expressed frustration with Netanyahu on Fox News, saying the Israeli Prime Minister was applying public pressure because he wants the U.S. to stay involved in the war. Jared Hill, CBS News.
This morning, we are continuing to learn more about the 7.1 magnitude earthquake that hit Japan. Right now, we know at least 13 people are dead and many more remain unaccounted for. Search and rescue operations are underway. A number of people died when a mall in that area partially collapsed. A paper factory also has serious damage, along with a highway bridge which buckled from the earthquake. Still to come, the Minnesota Vikings begin training camp today. The season preparations the team is making before they hit the practice field. And we'll take you to the under the big top of a circus for a sneak peek of their show, Whimsy. Your bright spot this morning, a group of Minnesota breast cancer survivors plan to take their paddling skills to France. The Dragon Divas of Minnesota are a dragon boat team of survivors. They're planning to compete in an International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission Dragon Boat Festival. It's a competition with thousands of survivors representing 37 countries. If you'd like to support their journey to France, they're hosting a fundraising event tonight over at a bar of their own in Minneapolis. That's happening from 5 until 8. New this morning, another adventure is unfolding under the big top. Summer performances are underway over at the circus. Our Shayla Reeves takes us inside Whimsy.
It's a chocolate and candy themed adventure.
Telling a story through performance. It's something these students have been doing for years.
You know, after school, they come in, they train. Some kids take 1 or 2 classes, you know, if that fits their schedule. Some take 15 classes, you know, and they're here after school until 9 at night training.
More than 700 participate in shows at Circus Juventus in St. Paul. The latest production is Whimsy.
It's been recreated in so many different, you know, genres and parts in time, the original Willy Wonka from years ago, and just adding those elements into our own Circus Juventus story has been fun, you know.
Rob Dawson is the executive director of Circus Juventus.
We're building amazing performers. We're helping them along their journey, but we're really just teaching life skills. You know, we're teaching trust and teamwork and self-confidence, and to see that part of them grow and then get displayed on stage is incredible.
I've been performing since I was 3 years old.
Raina Tolles has been performing in the summer shows for 4 years.
It's so magical. Looking out to the audience with the lights on, it's genuinely like one of the best feelings ever.
She plays Charlie in Whimsy.
So I find a golden ticket and I go into Wonka's factory and I go on this whole adventure.
Each person buying a ticket for the show helps keep making experiences like this one possible for students like her.
Supporting us is supporting our community and supporting our teamwork.
That's the most amazing part, right? Is you see these young students come in and train and sometimes fall, and sometimes, you know, the trick isn't going well and they get back up and they try again. And each session, each year, they improve. And you're buying a ticket to support the work that we do with these kids, and you're supporting, you know, our place in the community.
Shayla Reeves, WCCO News.
The next performance is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock under the Circus Juventus Big Top in St. Paul. It's located at 1270 Montreal Avenue. Additional performances are scheduled through August 9th. Tickets range from $25 to $55 and are available at cjshows.org. A Link star made her highly anticipated return to Target Center last night, even though Nafisia Collier returned to the court last week. This was her first home game since her injury in September. The Lynx extended their win streak to 8 in a row with a score of 193 over the Toronto Tempo. Rookie Olivia Miles scored 24 points, plus she added 8 assists and 6 rebounds. Collier had 15 points for her home game return. Kayla McBride scored 18 and Natasha Howard put up 13 points for the team. The teams face off again tomorrow in Toronto. A few updates for the Vikings. The team's recently hired defensive back coach Gerald Alexander, and he's suspended for 3 weeks without pay. That's for an arrest on charges of a DWI back in April. We also know there's a contract extension for offensive tackle Brian O'Neill. He'll be staying through the 2030 season. And we all know they've got multiple quarterbacks checking in to train McCarthy, Murray, and Wentz this season. They're hoping to have more consistency and fewer injuries. Head coach Kevin O'Connell says it's game on in practice today.
It'll be good to do that so we can prepare that player for the season, but also give our team and our players clarity of exactly the direction we're going, and then make sure that that whenever that happens, that's, you know, not the end all. I mean, we need to continuously chase improvement amongst our whole team, and there's other competitions.
Let's take a look at your next drive. Time is 8:19. This is a look in Fridley. 694 at Main Street. Traffic moving along quite nicely. Roads are dry. And we really aren't seeing anything that is going to really hold you up this morning in traffic. Those 2 exclamation points, a crash in Maplewood and St. Paul, haven't been able to find those on my camera, so not impacting traffic too much there. Just something to be aware of as you head out the door. Coming up, another update on weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, a small town among dozens hit by a cyber attack. What city leaders want residents to know. Plus, see the best of the best when it comes to pictures of pets. The finalists in a competition with thousands of entries.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Barrett Leone. Katie Steiner will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. But first, an investigation of St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr is underway. This is of sexual harassment toward Police Chief Axel Henry and other city employees. That's according to the Star Tribune. The Tribune says a letter was sent by Chief Henry's attorney, Chris Maddle, to St. Paul City Attorney Irene Cow. Maddle stated Henry had filed a formal complaint. That letter was dated back in April. Mayor Herr's spokesperson released a statement saying, quote, "The mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact her action may have had." We are coming up on 8:26 here, and this is a traffic incident over on 694. Now, this car, you can see smoke still, was on fire just a few moments ago. This is in the Fridley area, but let's take you just a camera back. You can see it is backing up traffic just a little bit here. We just put a call into MnDOT. We're working to learn more details, but obviously first responders on scene there, and they're working to clear this traffic incident. Other than that, we are not tracking any major crashes or backups across the metro. Things are looking pretty good for the most part. Katie.
Here's a look at your weather. It's going to be warm. We're at 75 now. We're starting to warm up a bit. 80 degrees. Dew point also starting to climb. You're at 68 degrees, so it's going to be a very hot, very sticky day out there. Your high temperature, 93 degrees. Your feels like temperature going to peak around 94, 95 degrees, but there is a little bit of relief in sight. 91 degrees again tomorrow, so it's going to be a very similar day out there tomorrow. More cloud cover, but Friday, we've got chance for rain Thursday night into Friday. Friday morning, I think it is going to be most likely raining with 81 degrees as your high temperature.
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, new accusations of harassment against St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr, the letter detailing a filed former complaint. And a devastating prognosis for a mass shooting survivor. Hear from the family of one of the victims of last week's nightclub shooting. Plus, droughts in Minnesota are nothing new to the people who live here, but when we're stuck waiting for the rain, the tough decisions have to be made. The conditions that would cause a water ban for the city of Minneapolis. And later, the huge area of damage in Wisconsin as many remain without power from a tornado. Good morning and welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Barrett Leone. Thanks for joining us this morning. New this morning, we are working to get details on an investigation into St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr. This is for allegations of sexual harassment toward Police Chief Axel Henry and other city employees. That's according to a letter the Star Tribune says was sent by Chief Henry's attorney to the St. Paul city attorney. That letter obtained by the Star Tribune says in part, Chief Henry has reached the decision to step forward as a former complainant against the mayor after becoming aware that the mayor's conduct has extended beyond isolated incidents and has included sexual harassment of subordinate city employees, including members of the St. Paul Police Department. WCCO has reached out to Henry's lawyer regarding the letter, but we have not yet heard back. Mayor Herr's spokesperson released a statement saying, quote, the mayor has deep respect for city employees and regrets any unintended impact her action may have had. WCCO is continuing to investigate these accusations, and we will update you throughout the day as soon as we learn more. Soon, St. Paul will begin clearing 3 major homeless encampments in the city, including nearly 150 people camped out in Pig's Eye Park. But a forum on the issue turned contentious last night. Most of the night was open mic with an opportunity for questions, which led to some heated exchanges. A big question is why the city would move forward without enough shelter beds. St. Paul will start clearing homeless encampments in 1 week. The city says more than 200 people live between 3 major camps. Yesterday, Ramsey County commissioners voted to partner with St. Paul and accept more than $1 million in city funding to expand shelter beds. Even so, one commissioner expressed some hesitation over the plan, and it left some people calling for a pause and some criticizing what they call a lack of outreach on the city's part.
We need to pause at least the sweeps. What the hell?
To be clear, people will suffer and die if you go through with this eviction.
So how can we trust you all to do the right thing when human lives are at stake?
St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr says the bottom line is that these camps are not safe, adding that the 3 encampments are responsible for close to 1,000 911 calls over the past year for things like assaults, weapons, death investigations, and drugs. City leaders also say outreach teams are already working in camps connecting with people. New this morning, 5 men have been arrested and charged following a month-long investigation into the alleged sexual exploitation of a 14-year-old runaway. The teen girl went missing back in June. 2 days later, she was found in Minneapolis. All 5 suspects are not connected to one another and allegedly communicated and engaged in criminal sexual conduct with the teen after meeting through online platforms. The men range in age from 20 to 37 years old. Some tips for parents to keep your children safe. Know which apps your kids are using. Talk openly about the dangers of speaking with strangers online. Monitor privacy settings on social media. Check with your children. Check who your children follow, and be on the lookout for secretive behavior. A Minnesota mother says her son will likely never walk again after last week's mass shooting in Minneapolis. It happened outside Rain nightclub in Uptown neighborhood. Police say a fight led to gunfire as a crowd waited to get inside the club. Bullets hit 9 people. One is 20-year-old Devin Wyatt. Wyatt's mother says he was set to graduate from a construction program this fall. Now he's in the hospital being treated for a spinal cord injury, several broken ribs, and a collapsed lung. The family says they haven't learned a lot from police.
I've heard something one time about they had a lead, but that was all I heard from them. I just wish people would just put the guns down. It's not worth it.
The family is hoping to raise $60,000 to cover hospital bills. Police say they have not arrested anyone for the shooting, but are still investigating. Caught on camera, a teenage driver's failed attempt to ditch police. Keep an eye on that white car here. It's backing up on Interstate 494 at Penn Avenue in Bloomington. This is on Monday. Police were there trying to get it to stop, but the teenager drove around those squad cars and continued in the wrong direction. The cameras then tracked the car for a while longer before it crashed on 494 at Portland Avenue. That's where police arrested the 17-year-old. No word yet on why the boy was driving like that. More than 30 communities are recovering after hackers targeted their water systems, including the small town of Brom. That's about 12 miles west of Rush City, with a population under 1,800. They say hackers shut down the operating controls for the city's water plant. But the city relied on water stored in the water tower while crews worked to get by on the grid. Mayor Nate George says upgrades have already been underway to upgrade IT infrastructure.
One of the things that we're doing right now is we're switching over to direct hardline data transmissions instead of Wi-Fi. So when the facilities are talking to each other, they're sending data through fiber optic cables rather than over Wi-Fi.
City leaders stress residents never lost access to safe drinking water, and there was no physical damage to facilities. Cities are working with state and federal partners to figure out who was behind these attacks. There's a new place for young people looking for help to call home in St. Paul. Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota is celebrating the grand opening of its new Center for Changing Lives. The building on University Avenue provides more transitional housing for homeless youth. In addition to apartments, there's childcare and counseling programs.
We also wanted to take a look at how to expand our early learning services and build in other supports that families and youth would need.
The center hopes to serve more than 1,100 young people and their families in 1 year. Time is 8:37. We are seeing some blue sky today, but the heat, it sure does continue. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner.
It's a little hazy out there.
A little bit, yeah.
We've got some smoke in the very high atmosphere, so not necessarily surface level, but that is what we are dealing with out there right now. 80 degrees. It feels like 83 because our dew point is very high, 68 degrees. Anytime it gets close to 70, you are going to be able to feel it out there. It's very muggy. 86 degrees is your temperature by noon, and we do have a couple of different heat advisories that's in effect right now. One in northeastern Minnesota, it could be as hot as 92 degrees in those feels like temperatures. This expires at 7 o'clock, and then the one out to the west, right on the border with North Dakota, those counties shaded in the orange there, that expires at 9 because it could feel as hot as 100 degrees there. Our temperatures are just going to be a little bit warmer out to the west. So here's a look at that dew point tracker. Dew points are going to stay high above 65 degrees for the next couple of days. They might break for the weekend, but right now it's going to be very hot and very muggy. So we're at 90 degrees in Grand Rapids. It's going to be cooler off to the east, warmer off to the west. That's in general today. You can see 93 in Isanti, 90 in Waconia, 91 in Wilmer for a high temperature today. And then down to the south, 92 degrees in Marshall. You're at 86 in Albert Lea and 88 in Owatonna. Low temperatures overnight, we're at 74 degrees, 70 in St. Cloud, 71 up in Grand Rapids. Those are very warm low temperatures. And then we are going to warm up again high to 91 degrees in the Twin Cities, 89 in St. Cloud, 86 in Grand Rapids. But let's talk about that next big weather change, and it's coming in the form of rain. Thank goodness, because we desperately need it. Here's your look at the overnight hours. You can see the bulk of the rain. We're going to see some showers and thunderstorms that are coming through in northern Minnesota earlier in the evening on Thursday, but the bulk of the rain is going to be to the south. It's going to pull through. Here's your look. This is not at 8:30 in the morning. Model kind of the timing is a little messed up towards the end there, but this is going to be a look at like 3:30 in the morning, and then we'll start to see that rain in the Twin Cities in the early morning hours of Friday into the morning on Friday. So here's a look at that severe weather outlook. We do have a 1 out of 5 chance for severe weather for tomorrow. This is specifically in those areas, the counties that are shaded in the tan there. And that's going to be for the first round of storms Thursday night. We will warm up. It'll be cool out there on Friday. 81 degrees in the Twin Cities, 75 in Mankato, 81 in Bemidji, and 80 degrees in Grand Rapids. But when you take a look at that 7-day forecast, it is, again, we'll welcome the rain there Friday morning. And I bet we'll get about an inch or half of an inch to an inch. We could see a little bit more in some heavier rain bands. Now, Saturday, it's going to be nice and dry, 86 degrees, 89 on Sunday, 91 on Monday, and then we'll see a return of more consistent 80-degree weather once we get to the work week next week.
Thanks, Katie. 8:40 is your time. You're looking at a backup on 694. This is in the westbound lane in Fridley, and that backup is because of a car fire that was just put out within the last 20 minutes or so. So you can see that the ramp is closed, the right lane is closed, and a number of first responders are on scene. MnDOT says that everyone got out all right, but for now the right lane is blocked and the ramp is closed. So we will continue to monitor this crash. It's the only thing we're watching right now at 8:41. Otherwise, things are looking pretty good across the metro. That exclamation point in St. Paul, we'll check on that. That just popped up. Coming up, another update on weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, droughts in Minnesota are nothing new to the people who live here. But when we're stuck waiting for rain, the tough decisions have to be made. The conditions that would cause a water ban for the city of Minneapolis. And later, the huge area of damage in Wisconsin as many remain without power from a tornado. That's next. Stay with us. Welcome back. The finalists for this year's International Pet Photography Awards have been unveiled. There are a dozen categories full of plenty of dogs and cats, but some other animals got their time to shine too. An international panel of specialist animal photographers and expert judges evaluated the entries. There were more than 4,000 entries from 48 nations. The winner will be announced on Saturday. Closer to home, our neighbors in Wisconsin are recovering after Monday's EF3 tornado. On Tuesday, the National Weather Service found a 12-mile long and nearly 1 mile wide swath of damage. That includes blocks of ruined homes, stripped trees, and collapsed power lines through central Wisconsin. Thousands are still without power across the region. That same storm system dropped hail as large as 2 inches. The National Weather Service is investigating 3 other reported tornadoes across Wisconsin and Illinois. A hot mess on the streets of Apple Valley. A fire started in a city garbage truck yesterday, so it got dumped onto the road. Police say that's standard protocol to stop the fire from spreading to the truck. Firefighters put it out and everyone is okay, including the garbage truck. But the city wants to remind everyone to make sure if you are disposing of things like charcoal, ashes, or anything that may be hot, make sure it's cool before you toss it. Minnesotans have become familiar with droughts throughout the past few years, and sometimes as we wait for rain, leaders have to decide when to look at restrictions like water bans. So what needs to happen in order for a water ban to be enacted? Good question. According to the director of the Division of Water Treatment and Distribution Services for Minneapolis, the city has been closely monitoring the Mississippi watershed. That's what supplies the city's drinking water. She says at this stage of drought, the city wants to be within 50% of our January winter use. In January, Minneapolis and the cities it serves water to used about 50 million gallons of water per day. In June, that number was around 60 million gallons per day. But this past week, usage reached up to 70 to 75 million gallons per day, which is right on the cusp of surpassing that 50% increase from January levels. Because of that, the city plans to announce some suggestions rather than restrictions.
Water only where and when needed. If your lawn can go an extra day or 2 without watering, do it. Again, many grasses need only an inch of water a week.
But if river levels drop further or demand for water increases, then actual restrictions will be put into place. The first one would be odd, even day watering restrictions. The next step, which was last seen in 2021, a full watering ban. Last time that happened, the ban lasted 3 months. 8:48 is your time. This is a look outside downtown Minneapolis. It's another warm one today, a little hazy out there. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner.
Good morning. We are looking at 93 degrees for your high temperature. Winds today are going to be nice and light, but you'll need the wind today because it's going to be warm. It's going to feel like 95 degrees, but I do have some sort of relief coming your way, and that is in the form of rain. So Thursday night into Friday morning, that is going to be our next best chance for rain. We could see more than an inch in some areas. If you live in southwestern Minnesota, that's your best chance for rain.
Thanks, Katie. This is a look at your traffic map. Overall, things are looking pretty good across the metro, but do you see that red stretch of road on 694? This is over in Fridley. We're dealing with the backup. This is in the westbound lane, and you can see traffic is moving pretty slowly, and the reason for that is because of a vehicle that was on fire not too long ago, within the last 30 minutes. You can see some first responders are on scene. An update here, though, it looks like the ramp is now reopened onto 694. And the right lane is just partially blocked still, you can see on 694, but traffic is moving slowly throughout that area. At one point, the ramp from 252 was closed off, but you can see traffic is now free flowing throughout that area. But like I said, beyond this, traffic is looking pretty good. Let's take you out to the South Metro here. You can see in Eden Prairie, traffic moving along quite nicely. You might need your sunglasses though, because the sun is out. Roads are dry. You should be in pretty good shape for your commute into work this morning. As always, we will continue to keep you up to date on the latest news and weather developments all day here on the stream. Former South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham will be laid to rest today. He died suddenly earlier this month at the age of 71 after spending over 30 years on Capitol Hill. Yesterday, funeral services were held in Washington, but today's service will be in South Carolina. And happening in Lakeville today, your chance to help sustain our region's blood supply. The city of Lakeville is hosting its annual 30th annual blood drive today from 9 until 4. That will be over at the McGuire Middle School gym. Coming up today on mid-morning at 9, time for a mid-summer check-in. Summer going too fast? We've got ideas for making the most of the weeks ahead with your loved one. All of that in today's Relationship Reboot. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be right back after a quick break.